this computer. That would be 6:04 Eastern. Ms. Dean, you guys had a chance to look over the agenda. Were there any amendments? Anything you wanted to change? Anything you didn't want to talk about that was included?
Or are we gonna have a chance to? Well, okay, no. What I want to say will fit in. So yeah, I'm all good with it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Ladies.
Yeah, I was good.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I move
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
So that was, I don't know, who wants the credit? Jasmine, I know I heard, and I'm pretty sure Rachel was the second.
Oh, no, that was Morgan, I think.
Yeah.
No, she can't second. She's taking notes.
Oh,
Okay.
It's very, I mean, she can, but it's better that she focuses on that rather than having to worry about moving and seconding. And as we are larger, it's easier. So I would give Eric the second.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I saw Eric's hand go up.
Okay.
There you go. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? All right, so this is our agenda, fun times. The prior meeting took place in August. That was the most recent meeting. We called it to order. We approved the agenda. We took attendance and approved the prior meeting minutes. And then there was immediately a motion to adjourn. This was done as a favor to me by Ms. Herrera and Mr. Colina. We had just lost our senior pity the night before, and I wasn't really feeling having a meeting. That was our last one. So there's nothing for us to approve because there were no actions taken. So just wanted to let you guys know, but that is for the flow and for the secretary's copy of the agenda from which she prepares the minutes. That would be where that falls. And so she'll have it going forward. If there is anybody who wishes to take off their leadership hat and address the leadership team as strictly as a member, we can open it up for member comment. We only have the 5 of us, so that's the only way that we would utilize member comment this evening. Is there anybody who wishes to do so?
Yeah, because I have one quick question.
Perfect.
So for Frank, when technically are we allowed to like kind of actually support him as a party publicly for his bid for Congress?
So that's a great question, and it's actually something that I have later on the agenda. But once we know for sure that we have a candidate who has won our primary for the position, either if he is the only candidate that files and turns in signatures, then it wouldn't even have to win the primary, and party support could happen at that point. If he does, and I have heard in that I have received communication that there are people interested in running for that same position, he would have to win the primary election before he could receive any support from the party itself.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Any other member comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 6. So I wanted to give you guys an idea. I know that of those of you here, 3 of you are new to the leadership team. So I wanted to kind of give an outline for the year of the things that we have upcoming and discuss with you guys what your thoughts are about continuing some of those, whether we should discontinue some of those, whether we have ways to make those things better. So one of the most frequent things, aside from the bylaws mandated business meeting each month and the bylaws mandated leadership team meeting each month, we have a monthly coffee talk. Currently, it takes place on the second Saturday of each month at 9 a.m. We have deviated from that, I believe, once because it conflicted with the state convention, and we didn't want to take people's attention away from what was happening there. The idea behind the coffee talk is that we bring speakers in that we would otherwise not get, aka they aren't local necessarily, but now that we have moved into a more open meeting environment where we can meet in person more, there is the possibility of meeting in person. I've actually reached out to Matt Wright, who with Muddied Waters Media as a potential speaker for these. And I have a couple that we've already lined up going forward. But I wanted to get your thoughts. One, does the second Saturday at 9 a.m. work? Should we be seeking a different or better time? I'm all about the alliteration and having kind of a standard. You know, we meet, our business meeting takes place on the third Thursday. I like the alliteration of second Saturday, but I want to make sure that we do something consistently when it comes to how those take place. So if we're looking to move away from the second Saturday, then I'd like to say, all right, fine, then it will be the first Monday of every month or the third Monday of every month so that it's consistent.
Keeping consistent is very important. You can be consistent. Like, I'm never going to be at a 9 a.m. Saturday anything. Okay. But
Okay.
you know, I'm your, if you want to call me at 11 at night, I'm up. Call me. Right.
Okay.
So I think it's important to make sure that we have things that are spread out for people, because I'm not a morning person. I'm just not.
Sure.
And so you have things for, you know, that coffee group, and I don't know how many people have joined that. And you got things for, okay, well, and we've got this happy hour group, and maybe we'll make a late night group. I don't know, right?
Yep.
Just scatter them about, but having them be repetitive. I like third Thursday. I don't even care if it's second Monday or whatever, but repeating, it's like, okay, second Monday at 6 o'clock, or third Thursday at 6 o'clock, or whatever it is. It just has to be consistent in order for people to latch on to it.
I agree wholeheartedly. So taking a look at what I've reached out and worked on, because it would be I mean, the whole purpose of the coffee talk is that it is a kind of to meet that morning group. It may exclude Eric because he's not a morning person, but there are lots of people that are. And I can tell you there have been plenty of Saturdays at 9 a.m. where I did not want to do it. I did not want to be awake. I did not want to be hosting something. I did not want to have to prepare for it. But it seemed to work out pretty well for us. We ranged in attendance from about half a dozen to almost 20. Depending on the popularity and how much effort we put into promoting that speaker. So right now, just with what I have reached out to others about rescheduling, if they had an issue with scheduling previously, which we had with Sarah Squire when she unexpectedly had to go out of the country, and when Spike Cohen was pulled away to do media in Illinois when he was supposed to be speaking with us. I have rescheduled Sarah for May. And I am awaiting an answer from Spike's team about whether February or April works better for Spike. Apparently he's just getting over COVID and sounds terrible. So they're trying to give some time. I imagine 2 weeks from now would be plenty of time if the February 12th date works for him. So we've narrowed it down to February 12th and I think April the 9th. I could have the wrong day for April, but it's the second Saturday. And then in March, on March the 12th, I've reached out to someone who's appointed to a statewide position as a Libertarian in Indiana and serves on the Indiana, or actually chairs the Indiana Public Defender Commission. And he's going to be talking about what it's like to serve as an appointed Libertarian in the political world, which is something that is often overlooked as we focus on elected positions. He has actually held that position for, I want to say 9 or 10 years now, with the Indiana Public Defender Commission, and he's going to be bringing a lot of insight when it comes.
Appointed by?
I'm sorry?
Who is he appointed by?
Mitch Daniels.
So what rank of government is the appoint, or is that?
So it's I believe a 7-person commission. The Republicans appoint 3, the Democrats appoint 3 in their caucuses in that state, and then the governor appoints 1. And at the time, Governor Daniels in Indiana felt that it would be important to keep it 3-3 and appointed a Libertarian, and he ended up chairing the Public Defender Commission.
I fucking love that guy. Never heard him before, but yeah, good. That
Oh,
we
no,
could be-
Mitch is not great.
Huh?
He's had
Mitch
some good
isn't
moments.
great. He brought daylight savings time to Indiana, and I hate him for it.
He's had some good moments. He did a very awesome event with Gary Johnson in 2016 at Purdue. He's now the president of Purdue University. And then the appointment of Mr. Rutherford are certainly some highlights from his political activity. So any thoughts on Coffee Talks? Any speakers that we want to get? One thing that we're looking to avoid is anybody who's running for election to an internal party office before the Reno convention. There are some that I think would be great speakers, but I don't wish to show any sort of implied favoritism by giving them an audience of potential delegates to that convention. So we would wait on anybody that's running for an internal LP office later on down the road.
Vernon Supreme.
Okay. Do you have a topic that you'd like to have him discuss, or just have him? Oh, actually, if he returns to the Judicial Committee, we would have to wait until after Reno anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I didn't have any specific topics.
Okay.
I want to know what size boot he wears.
It's an 11.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I'm just saying it's an 11. So anybody else, any other fun topics, speakers?
Well, one of the things that I'd like to do, if that's okay by you guys, is I occasionally get groups of people together for happy hours. I call them the alcohol reconnaissance team. Okay, and we go to fun little places, and it happens maybe quarterly, okay, or whenever I figure out a good place to go. So I think that, you know, kind of widening the circle, making sure that, okay, if you like me, like a Tuesday and Wednesday happy hours, I love them because I'm semi-retired, and my weekend is different than everybody else's. I work in the service industry as well, more or less, right? Sunday afternoon until sometime on Wednesday night, that's my weekend. And again, hitting different markets. There's certain people that are 9 a.m. people, and there's certain people like me that are Tuesday 5 o'clock let's drink people, right? And I'd just like to invite libertarians to whatever meetup that I might be setting up, and it's not going to be about politics. It's just like, hey, because we can infect people a little bit, and we can say, oh yeah, little by little we can get people thinking in libertarian ways, and I've been somewhat successful of doing that. I'll mention something to somebody, and I'll plant a seed of libertarianism in them, and then I'll just shut the hell up, and we'll talk about beer, and we'll do something else. And then maybe 6 months later, I'm hanging up with that person, and now they're saying something that I said before. That's the kind of thing that we all need to try to do. We're never going to be able to come up to somebody and say, be a libertarian, and they're going to be. I'm going to find out one thing that they already naturally agree with, and maybe tweak it a little bit, feed it back to them, and then just see if we hear it back, because that's one of the most rewarding things that I've ever come across politically, philosophically in my life, is being able to plant a seed like that and then hear it come back. And if we just hang out with each other, which is fine, I like y'all, whatever, but we have to go out and do that kind of hidden outreach, sneaky outreach, maybe. I don't know what you'd call it, but if that's okay to, invite the Libertarians to the next alcohol reconnaissance team meeting on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I'd like to do that. Oh, you're muted, Ben.
Would it be possible to remove the word alcohol and maybe make it Eric's happy hour?
I can call it whatever, man.
Okay, well, I think that's a great opportunity for us. I know that generally speaking, we do a really good job of the angry old white guy who likes to drink. We have really cornered that market. So a lot of the things that I've focused on have been more family friendly, but I completely understand it. It's something that I see that works well for a lot of affiliates. And I think that would be a great way, now that we have a larger team, to diversify some of our timing and outreach efforts. And I think that's a great idea, Eric.
Okay. Good.
So let's flesh out kind of when we want to do that, because we also have another quarterly thing that we've been doing, which is actually the Sunset Socials, which have been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed them. We kind of fell off with December because we wouldn't be able to gather prior to the sunset, just because when we're in standard time, we don't really have that opportunity. Our next one should be in the northern part of the county, and I've talked with some of our Dunedin friends, Professor Culligan and his partner, Susan. They have been giving me a lot of info about what happens in Dunedin and when. So I think that if we give the northern part of the county the next one, probably after the switch to daylight savings time. And I believe that Ms. Dean had a suggestion about tying them in to another event that we could host to kind of double up at the same time. Would you like to share that?
Sure. Yeah, I was just thinking that it would be nice if we did some sort of volunteer event. And I was thinking like a beach cleanup. And then afterwards we could all hang out and do the sunset thing, or, go to a bar and just kind of chill.
So enjoy the beach that we just cleaned up. I like it.
Mhm.
And then we can make it two separate things for the people that don't want to do the cleanup. They just want to be there for the fun. We have the Sunset Social for the people who only want to be active in the community and do something. We can make that the earlier part. And for the people that want to do both, awesome. You do both and you get to spend a lot of time with Libertarians.
I like that idea.
Okay. Do we want to kind of plan that way going forward?
Yeah, I think
Do
we
we have
should. Like, that's a good idea.
So when we incorporate the community volunteerism aspect of it, it does move it into the weekend, because we wouldn't necessarily be able to clean up on a Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because so many people work. Would we want to move it to maybe a Sunday? Would we want to do it on a Saturday? How would we want to? Yeah.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Have any of you been involved in a beach cleanup personally? Okay. I'm just curious if anybody done beach cleanup and saw what the organization might be like. I get all kinds of notices on Facebook or whatever, and I'm part of my neighborhood association here on Isle of Capri. And I don't know how they organize it, how they do it, how many people show up. One of the things that I'll do, just because we're talking about it, Carol works for as part of the neighborhood association. I'm gonna ask her, how do those beach cleanups go? What have you found to be, because if we go out there and none of us have ever done it before,
Yeah.
well, kind of let's get a little information, and I will find out from Carol about beach cleanup stuff, because she's organized it here for Isle of Capri and on Treasure Island, and say, how does it really work? Do you bring
Awesome.
out who brings the bags? I mean, it seems very simple, and it is pretty simple, but might as well find out. So I'll find out.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
I
Eric.
know some groups at Stetson who do it. So I'll ask them and see if they have any tips on the best way to do it.
Cool.
Wonderful. I love everybody volunteering to do stuff. Fantastic. So we are kind of all on the same page with regard to keeping the Sunset Socials going.
Yes.
Yes, yes. I know
Yes.
4 of us have been and enjoyed ourselves. I don't know if you've made it to one yet, Rachel.
I have not. I generally worked on Fridays until like 6 or 7 and
Okay.
getting to places of like, oh, well, okay.
Got it. So the next thing that I have, which Jasmine brought up, we do anticipate having a campaign for Congress from this group. I already kind of know the answer that I am seeking, but is there someone who wants to serve as a liaison with any campaign that wins the primary for that congressional seat?
I wouldn't mind doing that.
That was not the answer that I expected.
Oh, well, Laura's not on.
No, actually, I was talking about Rachel because my understanding is that she's working with the campaign. So I wanted to kind of reach out and see if that's something that we could do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would definitely be interested in doing that. I mean, unless Jasmine wants to, because I know I do work 2 other jobs, so fitting things in is always a fun juggle for everything.
It's like calendar Jenga, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel you. I'm in the same boat with work and school. I mean, I could be your alternate
Okay.
if that works.
And I think we all kind of know that there's one serious campaign. The others I have not seen any activity from the other mentions that I've had. So just wanted to that's why I kind of figured Rachel was ideal in that regard. So one of the failures that I identified from the last term was that we weren't able to roll out the Registered Libertarian Engagement Program because we were having a very difficult time finding a venue. Is there anybody who wants to kind of take on just finding a place for us to meet for that kind of stuff? We're looking at little to no cost. We would, have a minimum food and beverage that we would be able to meet. We would certainly want to do something akin to our birthday party event that we did at Nueva. But we need to be able to get all over the county. That's the hard part. Everybody kind of knows that the venues in the area where they are. But when we get outside of our little bubbles, we have a hard time finding or knowing the places to go.
So this is a venue for what, and how many people are showing up?
We anticipate 20 to 25. We would take care of hors d'oeuvres and non-alcoholic drinks. And it's just, we're inviting people who live nearby that are registered LPF just to get to know us and meet us. So we're inviting probably 300 to 400 people. We probably will only get 20 to 25, aside from, our hardcore people that are going to show up to just about anything we do. And that's really all we're looking for, is a venue that would be able to give us food and drink that we would pay for and wouldn't charge us for the space, or would have a minimum that we would have to meet for that space, which can't be too terribly high because we're only talking 20 people.
Do we have any kind of, do we have any map of like where?
I sure do.
300 to 400 people are?
Yep, sure do. I slice and dice the data every month that shows us the 11 Pinellas County Fire Department response districts. And that's how we've got them divided up. So we would want to look to find places in each of those 11 districts, probably over the course of the next 2 years.
Dude, I can figure that out.
Okay.
Something I can, give me that information and I can figure it out.
I'd love to.
I can do that.
And then the final thing for the vision this year is there will be greater delegation to the team from me because this is a learning opportunity. We don't want to be in a situation where we kind of have to beg somebody to stick around to be in a role going forward. So some of the things that I have already decided will happen is that Jasmine will prepare and run some of the meetings. It will probably be one of these first and then a business meeting. She will never be on her own for it. I will definitely be there to help. But that is certainly something that we need to be working on, because she had a whole year where she didn't have to. And I have never known a vice chair who's made it an entire term without having to run at least one business meeting. I am going to be saddling our secretary with sending out our announcements about meetings. We have discussed that already. Camila will be raising more money, and we would like to have a greater presence and engagement on social, specifically Facebook and Instagram, because that's where we're established. Oh, I like your new background, Eric.
Thanks, man. How much money do we have right now?
Last time I looked, it was $2,800.
Okay.
But we're usually ahead about $120 a month on what we, versus what we spend, because we don't have a lot of expenses.
Yeah. All right. Good.
So next item on our agenda, at-large rep duties and responsibilities. Eric, you talked about this a little bit. The things that I reached out to you guys about was I want you guys to take a look at the things where you feel that you excel and how does that fit in with what we have in mind for the year and how you want to make this role your own in that regard. And if there are any future positions that you might be interested in that you could shadow or learn more about before the year is up. I know that sounds odd since the term literally just started, but those are kind of the things that I want you to be thinking about. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Rachel and Eric so that you can really run this, because you have an opportunity to create this role, not just for this year, but going forward in what the at-large positions can do other than just be 3 extra bodies on the board.
Rachel, gonna start? Here.
Hang on. Oh, nope, I am on mute. Yeah, well, my strengths are definitely administrative. That is definitely what I excel at. So yeah, I've been thinking about what we were doing, but yeah, no.
Well, I can go out and talk to, well, we already identified a couple of things. I'm gonna find out how do beach cleanups really go. I know a lot of people. So as far as finding venues, once I know what those fire response districts are, I can make connections and I can talk to people that are kind of in the industry, because my silly little business is as well. And then I can always offer them like, hey, I'll give you a couple of free tickets for Pedal Pub sometime and use your space for free, maybe, because we'll pay for the hors d'oeuvres and as far as it's getting people together, spreading the word in a really casual fashion. I don't want to do administrative stuff. Okay, I want to help to be able to get people together in a casual fashion, and we'll talk about stuff. We'll plant seeds, because I think that's what's going to work, and that's what I kind of know how to do.
So you're saying you're our connector.
I know a lot of people out there. It's weird. I haven't been in here all that long, but I know a lot of people.
You know what I think would be an interesting fundraising event is if we were able to utilize Pedal Pub. Is that something that we could do? Get a slight discount and
Absolutely. Yeah.
the over goes to the party?
What we do is set it up. I've done this kind of thing before with the beer meetup group that I'm part of. And what we do is we set it up on a Sunday. Friday nights and Saturdays are my busiest time.
Of course, we would definitely not want to get into your busy time.
My mother doesn't get a discount on Fridays or Saturdays. When people call me and say, can we get a discount? I'm a firefighter, I'm a military first responder. It's like, yes, on a Sunday. Oh, Friday or Saturday? No, mom doesn't even get that. Sorry. That's why I got to make money. But Sunday afternoons, like 2:30 to 4:30 is usually a pretty good time slot because people have had time to get up, go to church. If they go to church, work off their hangover. If they got to do that, they can show up by 2 o'clock someplace. They're done by 4:30. Then they can go home and do their laundry for the work week. Yeah, again, I can set it up so that that it's open to the public, or I can set it up so that somebody would have to have a specific link in order to book a spot on the pedal pub for that day. And that's what I did for the beer club, and it's easy for me to do. And yeah, of course, discount it and make sure that the party makes some money off it, and make sure that my nut is covered, and then we're good. So.
Love it. Fantastic. Rachel, Eric, anything else about kind of shaping this role for the future? Anything that you're interested in that the other roles that are more defined have that you're interested in kind of learning more about? It's okay if there's nothing. I mean, that's fine. I asked the question to kind of prepare for the future.
I barely volunteered as it was, man. So I don't want to do anything else right now.
I understand completely.
Yeah,
well,
probably.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say probably the only other role that I would probably fit best in would maybe be the treasurer, because I'm not a great note taker. As administrative as I am, I'm a bad note taker, but I can do well with money.
All right. Well, then we'll have you talk with Camilo a little bit and kind of understand all that goes into that role, because most of it is behind the scenes. He's going to be a little more public now because he's going to be asking for money more. But I think that's a good thought on your part to utilize your strengths and kind of learn more about some of the other roles that we have. Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about in this agenda item?
No.
Hearing none, the next one was where we are on the 527 paperwork. I don't actually know. Last I heard, we were still waiting on the IRS. But Camilo, it was a no for him on the doodle poll. So the last thing that I have, I want to plant the seed for you guys about figuring out how we would write the duties of these roles into the bylaws, if we want to do that. So I guess that's the first question. If we want to do that, let's be planting the seed, thinking about how we would lay out what this role is for and how it plays out in the framework that we have of 7 people now. And then start crafting some of the rules that would define it and go from there. I don't have anything in mind. And I know that that's probably crazy to you guys who were there at the 2021 convention, because I clearly had things in mind when it came to the bylaws and amending them to set this organization up for the future. But be thinking about how we can craft that at the next convention so that we are setting our successors up for success. And the last item on the agenda is from our vice chairperson, Ms. Herrera, talking about some of the things that she had been working on and I imagine plans to continue working on in this term.
Or began, if I didn't begin. Yeah, so a couple of things that I know we had discussed over the last few meetings or leadership meetings the past year were shirts. We also talked about business cards and then other literature, which I know last time we discussed if we're going to do business cards, that'll just be out of our own pocket, especially with the roles rotating, and trying to be conservative with the donations. Ooh, that's a nasty D word for me. Anyway, so t-shirts, that's another thing I'm going to try to kind of get back on track with doing, and then hopefully maybe I'll have some ideas to show everybody. That way we can kind of pick and choose like what we want, or kind of where to tweak certain things. I didn't get any input sent to me when I'd asked at one of the leadership meetings this past summer, so maybe we just need to kind of bring it up again at the business meetings and stuff. So that'll be one thing. And then trying to kind of, I guess, diversify, kind of like what Eric was saying with diversifying like more activities and stuff. So I really want to try to get us into like a sip and paint, or like some sort of like arts and crafts kind of style of thing where you can like bring your own drinks. I just think that'd be kind of fun. So that's one. Number two, I want our float back. I think it'd be great if this year, hopefully there are no crazy COVID protocols, that we could actually participate in the Pride Parade this summer. But you know, that kind of depends on what kind of protocols or what kind of changes they make this time. But it would be cool if we could maybe muster up a float. If our old one is just completely disappeared, I'll look into trying to figure out the situation with getting a new float and where will we store it. So those are pretty much kind of like the main things that I've been thinking of. Other than, I've also thought about volunteering, which Morgan had already brought up earlier, doing some more volunteer events, helping out in our community a lot more, which, especially once we get our shirts, that will help get our name out there as well. They'll be like, oh, it's the Libertarian Party here that are doing, you know, either beach cleanup or any other type of volunteer event that might, you know, come by this year that we can hop on. And those are pretty much my things from last year that I want to carry over and try to get done this year.
Anybody have questions or suggestions or odd comments for Ms. Herrera?
Making t-shirts, Jasmine. I know there's a place called Big T Printing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had shirts made by them, and they're reasonably priced. I've got a friend who has a cry-cut t-shirt machine in her house, so we could potentially use that. I just have to schmooze her, buy her some drinks, and we could probably do that. Then you can go to Michael's, and you know, we can buy t-shirts at Michael's for like $250 or $350 or something like that, and buy the stuff that she's got to press on it and make shirts that way. What I like about Big T Printing is they'll do more. They can do like 4-color print. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Carol, it's just going to be one color on a particular colored shirt. That's all her machine will do. But you also have to buy quantity. And I've done it in the past many times where I've guessed the wrong quantity. I end up with way too many small shirts and way too, you know. So, you know, it's something that, hell, I don't even know how much one of these machines would cost, but we could, because it's super freaking easy once you got the machine to make the shirts, and super cheap. So if we're doing it, now I'm just bouncing because I'm a little drunk and thinking things. We could do, okay, we're going to do the Pride Parade, right? So everybody's going on the Pride Parade. We're pedaling pedal pub down the Pride Parade, right? We want to have stuff on the back of our shirts that specifically says 2022 Libertarian Party Pride Parade. Whatever we want to do, we can make up shirts for specific events, and they're cheap. Once you get a machine, it's cheap. Now, of course, somebody's got to hang on to the machine, and somebody's got to be able to operate it and that kind of thing. And I don't know how big it is, but if we're going to do shirts, we could do them for specific events instead of just buying a whole bunch of them and just hoping that eventually somebody wants one.
Would it almost be worth it then to look into us actually buying a machine?
Yeah.
Like for the county party, like, you know, it's, you know, the Pinellas LP's machine. And then whenever we need to come up with like a design or make shirts, we press them ourselves then.
Yeah. I'll find out information from it's weird. the two women that I need to talk to are both named Carol. One about the Carol Brady about the beach cleanup, and Carol McMurray about the t-shirt machine. And I will get the information from the Carols and I will forward it along to you.
Okay, that works. Yeah, and yeah, if it seems worth it, I'll also do some like research on us actually getting a machine and kind of like what it would take for us to get whatever it is we need to like press, and how to like at least get those designs on something pressable.
Yeah.
So we could do it that way, yeah, and then that way we can kind of make shirts as people request them.
Or just, have people who sign up for events, just say, hey, as part of this event, you're going to get it's the LP beach cleanup t-shirt. Seriously, it's only going to cost us not even $5 a shirt, right? And then somebody's
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
I always like having junky t-shirts to wear to the gym. So
yeah, I think that actually might be a better idea than trying to like bulk order, especially like you said, if we can get like the shirts themselves for super cheap and then press the designs on them. Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll get more information. I'll send it out to you guys. Find out about it.
Love it. I love that somebody's going to be walking away with as much stuff in their to-do list after one of these meetings as I am. And it's Eric, and it's fantastic. All right, guys, is there anything before we hit the final item on our agenda? I would like to note that we are definitely under the 49-minute runtime that I suggested that this would take based on the agenda.
I have two things.
Go for it, Eric.
Okay, so one of them is, and it just occurred to me because I was talking to my friend Julie, who's sitting out here, about ranked choice voting, and we should have someone part of the leadership team liaison with ranked choice voting, whether they're people here in the county or whoever, because it's one of the only ways we're going to get elected is we can get ranked choice voting done. Anybody here know anybody who works in the county with ranked choice voting at all?
In the county, no, but on the statewide effort, yes.
Okay.
And they've been very helpful with what was going on in Clearwater before they decided that they didn't have the cojones to keep it on the ballot.
Because I think that teaming up with folks that believe, so we might be teaming up with Socialist Worker Party, which is like the opposite of us, but so what?
Right.
Choice voting is where it's at for any third party. That way you don't have the wasted vote excuse ever. And we should liaison with them, whatever we need to do, talk to them, and maybe have them be part of our beach cleanup group, right?
It's not a bad idea.
Love it.
Yeah, where would we start with that? I guess, like, who would we talk to first?
J. Mark Barfield is the person that I would contact. He's a former LPF vice chair. We're actually friends on Facebook. He participated in the RCV coffee talk that we did last year. There are two efforts. One is a statewide petition effort, and the effort that he's involved in is about pushing municipalities and counties to adopt it for their local elections so that we can show the state that it can be done.
Okay, so then I guess what we're suggesting is trying to kind of get on pushing that for a county.
County or cities.
Okay,
or both.
yeah.
I think let's glom on to existing groups,
What they're doing.
pushing that,
Yep.
and attach ourselves to that and help that. And I'll send out some emails next week and see what I can find out about it. Why am I adding things to my list?
I don't
I was
know,
gonna
Eric,
say, like,
but it's fine with me.
I'll jump on that with you, Eric.
Okay. Cool.
You can like CC me in the emails, and then yeah, I'll jump on that and also like start trying to reach out.
And I'll send you guys the contact with Rank the Vote Florida, I think is who J. Mark works with.
Okay.
And what was your other thing, Eric?
One last fun thing. It's fun. Very short. Un poquito, very small. Okay, so I got this thing from the DCCC in the mail. So I get things from the Crips and the Bloods all the time, right? And one of the nice things about this is, like, of course, hey, send us some money. Actually, I'm gonna do this so you can see this better here. So choose virtual background, none. There we go. We're back to my house. So they send us saying, send us money, right? That's what I like. This is why I donated years ago. I donated like $5 to each party because then I'd get all their propaganda because I like propaganda, right? But they send this type of envelope.
Business
So
reply mail.
You
They
can
have to
put
pay for what you send.
$1 to get it back. So what I've done is I've donated like $5 a year to the Crips and $5 a year to the Bloods. And then I'm on everybody's mailing list. And every time I send this back, so I end up costing them more money. I think everybody should do that. You get this stuff. What I like to do is I like to save them. I'd like to save these, and I also like to save the surveys because I will send out the surveys that are really slanted, and I use them as tools to educate my son about politics. Like, let's go through this survey and let's talk about it and how do they frame the questions and that type of thing, right? Then I take the Crips survey and put it in the Bloods envelope and vice versa, making sure to tear off the portions that identify me so they can't take me off their mailing list. And I can send themselves so they can show it up their asses. And I want to encourage others to do that as well.
I may have been known to do something similar.
I think all I've done is, during election season when I was getting phone calls about who I was going to vote for, and they kept leaving out Joe Jorgensen. I'd just be like, Joe Jorgensen, she's also on every ballot.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I don't want to take up too much more of our Friday evening. I think we did a pretty good job. We got done in less time than I said we would. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
So moved by Eric Olson, seconded by Rachel Hicks. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? We are